Chapter 2, Cybernetic Heart. Now, it's important to note that despite looking like protogens, the characters, or at least the main character that we see in the song or music video, is not a protogen. They're modeled after protogens, but they are not protogens, as explicitly stated by Lovecut V. So, I need to get that out of the way before people begin talking about it, because I'm going to be referencing them as failed subjects or the resurrected. Maybe not that last one, but definitely failed subjects. The whole plot of Cybernetic Heart is that a person wakes up in a body they don't recognize or understand, and they attempt to stage a rebellion after arguing with Gron for their freedom. However, Gron points out that if it's what his research entails, they'll work for him if it fails. So, something obviously failed, meaning that they had to be modified in such a way that was supposed to remove their free will and force them to work for Antihuman. However, something didn't go quite right, and this resulted in them retaining free will, henceforth starting a revolution which failed. However, this revolution quite possibly begins the later song known as the Ringmaster. We will get to the Ringmaster later. However, for now, we're going to stick with Cybernetic Heart. Now, it's important to note that in the original script, I said that the failed subjects were dead and were revived using augmentations leading to the obvious title. However, after talking with Lovecut V, I kind of figured out, or just learned in general, that they aren't really resurrected, but something went wrong during the transformation process or transmutation process, which resulted in them becoming something, resulting in the necessitation of cybernetic enhancements to be made. However, when the enhancements were applied, it's quite possible that sometimes the subjects would still remain aware of who they once were, leading to their free will and eventual escape, attempted escape. The original reason I believed that the cybernetically enhanced characters were resurrected from the dead was because how the song does bring up resurrection and how this life wasn't the one that they had chosen. Now that that's out of the way, we can focus more on the song. So, the song points out how Antihuman Inc. is a shop but no sweat, implying that there is forced labor to be had here, and that they aren't supposed to have thoughts. Their feet are controlled by an intangible force. It appears to me that the enhanced slave force is not meant to be alive, at least in a self-aware and self-governing fashion. But if they do retain some level of self-awareness, it means that the thoughts are coming from the person who died, or something had happened to them while they were on the operating table. Also, sorry for the horrible audio. I had to change offices, and the new acoustics in this room are ass, so I'm sorry in advance. Returning to the song, it's important to note that these memories and these thoughts of rebellion could come from a quote-unquote residual memory from the last person who took the gamble and were left in shambles when they won no prize, as the song puts it. Our protagonist mentions how they and the others are still people behind a mask who yearn for freedom and don't want to be here. Side note, I feel like I'm getting flashbacks to a certain horror game with a similar plot, but that's not a side tangent I'm going to go on right now because I need to get the video out as soon as possible. Returning to the song brings up, if saving comes with slaving, then whose sins are more rotten, and he can't control us if we rebel against our code en masse. There is still a part of you that is still fighting behind the mask. We're not robots, just people just trying to live our lives. We took the gamble, and we left in shambles when we won no prize. Behind your eyes is the person who died inside. He brought us back, and now we're working for his enterprise. Do you want to know what this means? It means this isn't uncommon. It's not rare for the revived subjects to hold memories from before they died of their past lives. Or at least that's what it's not discouraging us from implying. They remember who Gron is and what he did to them. I'm assuming it's rare for people to die. However, It's evident that this has happened enough that Antihuman Inc. does have a decent-sized workforce of toaster slaves that, when combined, can overload the code, more likely hardware than software, that keeps them in line, meaning that the hardware is either complete crap or holy shit, that is a lot of dead people, or just physically disabled, mentally disabled, whatever. Of course, their revolution fails and they end up on the floor. The music video never shows us anything besides a single protogen, which we obviously know isn't a protogen within the context of the story, so we don't really know how many people are in Grant's facility. However, speaking of Grant's facility, what is he using the slave force for? Anything really. They could be leased out to whoever works at Antihuman Inc., or just forced to work around the facility, or just anybody within the immediate vicinity within the city. Also, can we agree the saving comes with slaving line goes hard as fuck? Look at all these people all around you. Do I look troubled by the tasks you have to do? Quote, Gron. They could possibly be doing operations on the people who signed up for the Antihuman program, leading to a dark twist of the victims of misfortune leading others to an identical fate. Or at least the gamble of an identical fate. A plot twist I believe that Ivycombe had to at one point thought about, because this would be a banger point in the plot, and it's gonna piss me off if this isn't even mentioned in the upcoming show. I can't believe I missed this, but the description of the song reads, "Not everything is as it seems, wouldn't you agree, detective?" I mean, what the hell does that even mean? I think I might know? Maybe? I don't fucking know. Maybe. This bit has gone on way too long. But in any sense, Cybernetic Heart has been a very juicy and full of stuff for me to rip into, and I'm way too eager to hop into the next song. Also, tell me in the comments if you would still take the Antihuman operation. I would. Either way, my life becomes a little more fascinating, regardless of the outcome.